get the message that with that second unit, which won't be the case tonight, there are opportunities for him to be aggressive. Do you think that whatever you do moving forward with the starting lineup, do you think that aggressive mindset is something that could hold?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like anytime you're making changes and stuff, you're gonna, talk to these guys. My responsibility to Patrick in terms of helping him grow is, how can we continually have him have opportunities to build himself as a player? And I think he's played well, as a starter. But I also think that he's kind of been that primary role has been kind of that defensive stopper for us, in a lot of ways. And I do think that he's been a little bit more aggressive offensively. And in just having that conversation with him, like I said, he's always been a team guy, and he'll do whatever he can for the team. And he felt very, very comfortable, doing that. And I told him I thought there'd be some opportunities for him to be aggressive. He needed to take advantage of those opportunities. So I think I said maybe after the game that I think that this could actually almost help him, in his development, doing some of the things that I think we all like to see him do a little bit more of.
Billy, you talked about wanting the lineup change to not just be a one-time thing, but obviously Javante's injury is going to throw a little bit of a wrench in that. How do you kind of approach that, just trying to experiment with those new rotations, knowing that, you now have to kind of handle the injury side of it?
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with the same thing with Alex. We'll find out if he's available. He's going to probably be a little bit more game time. So, sometimes these injuries, guys being out, things happen. You have to have the next guy step up. With Javante being out, we're not whole. Hopefully Alex is, feels comfortable that he can go. But you just got to come in with it. Kind of the next guy's got to go. It's just kind of part of it. For 82 games, you're going to have these situations where your roster is not going to be complete and whole. I don't think we're any different than anybody else when it comes to that.
Hey, Billy, with Dalen, I know I asked you about him about 10 days ago, and what does he have to? What?
Well,
He's right here.
It's for TV, dude.
I don't care. I know he's kind of backlogged.
Yeah.
But what does he have to do to kind of distinguish himself to get that playing time? You have energy guys already. You have pretty good defenders already. You said that his passing is pretty unique, but what does he specifically have to do where he can get that crack and be a first-round pick that's starting to get that playing time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's done nothing wrong.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just sometimes, when guys are in and out of the rotation, a lot of times it's not about their performance and those kind of things. I do think that for him, he does have a unique skill set of passing it. I think the game needs to slow down for him. He's a little bit, sped up in a lot of situations. But I do think that his competitiveness, him eager to get better, wanting to learn and grow, is there. I totally get, as a young player, it's hard maybe to really grow at the rate you want a player to grow if he's not playing, right? So that's why I think use some G League opportunities. But, I think with, in all honesty, some of Io's opportunity, and I don't want to see anybody on our team get hurt because we've dealt with enough of that, but some of Io's opportunities came through injury, so to speak. When Alex and Lonzo were out, we kind of went with him and he got that opportunity. And I'm not sitting there saying that that's the only way he's going to get a chance to play, but, based on, how the team's looking, how it's going, how he's looking, how he's going, then you kind of try to make some decisions. But I still think we're committed to his development. The piece about the development that's probably hard for him, is he's not getting those game minutes, which is important, I think, in a player development. But, if you're playing him, in the rotation, you're obviously taking somebody else out too.
The first year that the Bulls had Jimmy Butler, I used to joke with him as a redshirt year because and he came in a year where there was a stoppage, so he didn't get summer league, he didn't get anything. But we didn't see him that entire first year, basically. Right. Could this be a case where he just kind of needs a year of that, where it does feel like a red shirt, where he's just not going to be in the rotation, but that doesn't mean the organization doesn't value him and hold him in high regard moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Another example, as well, is like when I was in college, I had Joe Kim Noe, he played 6 minutes a game, as a freshman, and then his sophomore year, he was phenomenal. So everybody's growth is a little bit different. Everybody's opportunity is a little bit different. I think he's very, very invested in him. He's very, very invested into himself and getting better. But sometimes the situation may be as such that there's just not that opportunity there for him. And there may be, maybe going forward we feel like let's put him in there and maybe his energy could help, or maybe his skill set could help. But I still think that the growth of him as a player is really, really critical. This can't be a wasted year with limited minutes for him, where he's got to really continue to get better. And to his credit, he's really done that. He's kept himself pretty upbeat, and he likes getting in the gym. He comes in early. Days like today, he'll get over here early and get work in, the G League. So he is doing all the things that he needs to be doing.
Coach Donovan, just want to get your thoughts, what you have gleaned from the Kings, you know, them coming in here at 12-9, and they seem like they're trying to turn the corner.
Yeah, obviously they've got a lot of experienced players. You know, Fox has been here for a while. Really an explosive, athletic, veteran guard. I had a chance to coach Domas, his rookie year in Oklahoma City. I know his competitiveness and toughness and his competitive makeup, and obviously with the trade, he's done, really, really, I think, well here and, is playing to his strengths. Murray is getting an opportunity as a rookie, is a very good shooter. Barnes is a veteran guy that's been around for a long time. Some of these guys have played together for a while. And then, off the bench, I think their bench has been really, really terrific. The bench has played great all year long. Been one of the best benches, in the NBA, this first 20 or so games into the season.
And going back to Sabonis, since you did coach him in Oklahoma City, and you just talked about growth, with players, what have you seen in him as far as his growth through the years?
Well, the year I had him, it was kind of tough. We had Steven Adams. We played those two guys together, so he was probably a little bit more at the power forward spot. He was a little bit probably more on the perimeter. And Domas, I think, with his ability to put the ball on the floor and facilitate and generate the next action, is really good at that. But we almost used him a little bit as a stretch guy, a little bit as a stretch four, and he got some opportunities to post up, maybe not nearly as much as he's gotten in Indiana or here in Sacramento. But he's one of those guys, to me, he's just really, really competitive. He's tough, he's hard-nosed, and he'll do whatever he can do to impact the team. I think he's probably playing, since Indiana and here, probably closer to, his skill set, so to speak. I think his rookie year, he got a chance to start and get a lot of minutes. But we probably didn't have him in a lot of that because, we had Taj Gibson, we had Enes Kanter, we had Steven Adams and him, so we had a very, very big team at the 4 and the 5. And our team was just structured a lot different than here in Sacramento. If Barnes he's playing the 4 spot, he's on the perimeter a lot. A lot of times when Domas was with us in Oklahoma City, he was playing alongside another big man, whether it was Taj Gibson or Enes Kanter or Steven Adams. So the spacing becomes a little bit more difficult for someone like him. But I think the way he played in Indiana, the way he's playing here is perfect for his skill set.
Let's get 2 more. Go ahead.
Hey Billy, going back to the Kings bench, Monk has been, leading the charge for the Kings effort. What challenges does that bring to your second unit?
Well, I've obviously known him for a long time, all the way back into high school. I think like a lot of players, everybody's growth and development goes a different path. He was obviously a really high draft pick and, got a lot of opportunities early, then maybe had to come off the bench late, so his career, but he's kind of found his niche of who he is as a player, and he's kind of played pretty consistently over the last several years. So, he's always been an explosive scorer, very, very athletic. But again, probably a guy that, has figured things out, over a period of time. And I think everybody kind of grows at different rates. And certainly he's playing really, really well for them.
Coach, there are nearly 20 teams in the league that are either at 500 or better. The times you've coached, obviously, with the Bulls 3, with Oklahoma City 5, is this the most balanced NBA season you've seen in a while?
Yeah, starting off, yeah, it's still pretty early, so things are going to shake out. So I think you're going to see a lot of things kind of congest a little bit because you're still in that 20 to 25 game range, and there's not enough room for really separation. There's some teams that have really been able to separate. But yeah, there's a lot of parity, and teams are, obviously the East has gotten a lot better. I think on any given night, if you really don't play well, it's hard to win. Maybe that's changed quite a bit. Where some games maybe you could get away with it, but I think right now you really have to play well every night to put yourself in position to win.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. You're welcome.